A forgotten Marine, once known as Specter One, resurfaces to expose the buried truth of a mission the government tried to erase. What happened next will remind the world that buried sins always claw their way to light. The evening had settled over Henderson Point, a coastal town not far from Camp Ridgeway, where Marines often came to shake off the weight of duty. Inside Murphy's bar, neon lights hummed above rows of beer bottles, laughter clattered against the wooden walls, and a jukebox fought to be heard over the noise. In the farthest corner sat a man who didn't belong to the noise. His name was Eli Ward, an aging veteran whose wheelchair seemed to carry more history than comfort. His face was drawn, his hands trembled slightly as he held his glass, but his eyes, sharp and unyielding, spoke of a past that refused to fade. But before we dive into what happens next, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from today? Drop your country in the comment below and please like the video. Thank you. Now let's continue. A group of young Marines sat nearby, all muscle and confidence, trading stories about deployments, missions, and glory. They noticed Eli, his worn jacket with faded patches, and one of them, a corporal named Tyler Briggs, smirked. "Hey, old-timer," Briggs called out loud enough for the bar to hear. "What unit were you with? Or you just buy that jacket at a thrift store?" The bar chuckled. Eli didn't respond. He simply took another sip. Another Marine, bolder now, stood and swaggered over. "Come on, Grandpa, tell us your call sign. You got one, right?" Eli finally raised his gaze. The noise in the bar seemed to dim, as if instinct itself held its breath. "Yeah," Eli said quietly. "They called me Specter One." For a second no one moved. The laughter that followed was nervous, forced. But behind the smirks, one of the older Marines in the corner stiffened, eyes wide. The name wasn't a joke. The sound of clinking glasses faded as whispers took over. "Specter One," someone muttered. The young Marines looked confused, but the older one, a master sergeant, knew the name. He stood pale and said softly, "That can't be true. Specter One died in Operation Iron Veil. Every man in that unit was lost." Eli didn't answer. He just gave a faint smile and turned his wheelchair slightly toward the bar counter, the kind of smile that carried both truth and sorrow. The room felt colder now. The loud music seemed inappropriate, so someone turned it down. Even Briggs, the loudmouth corporal, swallowed hard, realizing he might have insulted someone whose name was carved into Marine legend. Before anyone could say more, the bar door swung open. A man in uniform stepped inside, General Marcus Harlow. He scanned the room once and then locked eyes with Eli Ward. "Everyone out," the general said firmly. "Now." No one argued. In less than a minute, Murphy's bar was silent except for the hum of the lights and the faint rhythm of rain starting outside. General Harlo approached slowly, his boots echoing against the floorboards. He took the seat across from Eli, set down his hat, and studied him. "Eli Ward," he said quietly. "I didn't believe the rumors." Eli's lips twitched. "You never believed much that wasn't written in your reports." The general sighed. "You were supposed to be dead. The official file says Specter One perished along with his team in Iron Veil." "Yeah," Eli murmured, looking into his drink. "It was easier that way, wasn't it? Dead men don't ask questions." Harlow's expression hardened. "You don't understand what that mission cost. Washington wanted it erased. You were part of something that went wrong," Eli cut in. "And instead of owning it, they buried us." A long silence hung between them. Rain hit the windows harder now. Harlow slid a sealed envelope across the table. "You've been seen," the general said. "They'll come for you, Eli. This time not to honor you, but to make sure you stay silent." Eli gave a weary smile. "They can try." The moment the general left, the night shifted. The rain outside became a steady downpour. Through the bar's fogged window, headlights glimmered, black SUVs rolling to a stop. Eli knew that sound too well. The hum of engines that didn't belong to the innocent. He reached under his seat, pressing a hidden latch. The floorboard clicked open, revealing a small handgun, old, clean, and carefully oiled. From the reflection in the window, he saw movement, agents in dark suits, scanning the area, speaking into radios. Then the door opened again. But it wasn't the agents. It was a woman. She wore civilian clothes, but the way she moved was unmistakably military. Her name was Claire Monroe, and once upon a time, she had been Lieutenant Monroe, Eli's second-in-command on Operation Iron Veil. Eli froze. He had seen her fall. "You're supposed to be dead," he whispered. Her eyes were wet, not from the rain. "So are you." For a moment they just stared at each other, two soldiers long buried by lies. Claire approached, her voice trembling. "They told me you didn't make it out. They made me disappear too. New identity, new orders. Silence or they'd go after my family." Eli's jaw tightened. "That's how they erase ghosts." She nodded. "They know you're alive now. They're coming, Eli. They want to close the book for good." The door rattled as agents shouted from outside. Claire grabbed Eli's arm. "There's another way out." She led him toward the back, down a narrow hall that opened into a hidden cellar, an old escape route from when the bar was used to smuggle supplies decades ago. They slipped inside just as the front door burst open and armed men stormed in. The tunnel was damp and cold, lit only by Claire's flashlight. Their footsteps echoed against stone walls as Eli maneuvered his wheelchair along the uneven ground. At one point, he stopped beside a metal container marked with his old call sign. S1. Claire frowned. "You've been here before." Eli nodded. "This place used to be a fallback zone. My team stored things here. Things they didn't want command to find." He opened the container. Inside were old field logs, a folded flag, and a drive wrapped in waterproof cloth. "That drive holds proof," Eli said. "Files that show who ordered Iron Veil and why it went wrong. They blamed the dead because the truth would have ended careers." Claire swallowed hard. "Then we take it public." Eli gave a quiet laugh. "You think truth survives politics?" She looked at him. "Maybe not. But it deserves a voice." When they reached the tunnel exit, dawn was breaking faintly through the mist. The street ahead was slick with rain, and lined with black SUVs. Agents stood waiting, weapons drawn but lowered. Their leader stepped forward. Agent Cole, a man with a practiced calmness that reeked of authority. "Mr. Ward," Cole said, "I'm authorized to bring you in. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be." Eli glanced at Claire. She shook her head slightly. She knew what coming in meant. He wheeled forward. "You know who I am, Cole." Cole hesitated. "I know what they called you." Eli's voice carried the quiet gravity of a soldier who'd seen too much. "They called me Specter One. Not because I was the best, but because I survived when I wasn't supposed to. And that scared them." Rain dripped from his jacket as he continued. "Every war leaves ghosts. The government just decides which ones get remembered. The rest of us, we fade." The agents didn't move. For a brief moment, the air felt sacred, heavy with the truth no one wanted to acknowledge. Then Cole, moved by something deeper than duty, slowly lowered his weapon. "Let him go," he ordered quietly. No one spoke as Eli and Claire passed through the line of agents. They didn't run. They didn't hide. As they reached the street, one of the younger agents, barely out of training, snapped to attention and raised his hand in a crisp salute. One by one, the others followed. Eli stopped his wheelchair, looked at them, and gave a final nod. Not as a hero, but as a man finally seen. For the first time in years, the ghosts of Iron Veil felt at peace. Later, as morning light stretched across the horizon, Eli and Claire sat by the pier, watching the waves crash against the rocks. The world around them was waking up, unaware of the storm that had just passed. Eli held the data drive loosely in his hand. "You think anyone will believe it?" Claire smiled faintly. "Doesn't matter. Believe it. And I'll tell it." He looked at her, the corners of his eyes softening. "Then I guess I can rest now." The sun broke through the clouds, painting gold across the water. For a man who'd lived in shadows, it felt like forgiveness. Claire turned toward him and whispered, "The world forgot you, Eli. But they won't anymore." He smiled gently. "Then make sure they remember the others too." She nodded, then looked toward the camera, as though speaking directly to those watching. "Stories like his aren't fiction," she said. "They're warnings, memories, and reminders of what honor costs. If you believe these stories deserve to be heard, don't just scroll away. Subscribe, share, and keep their names alive. Because every time you remember one of them, they live again."